everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 140 on this 18th of March, 2020. Here we are in the midst of home isolation.
Yes.
Which is really, we do the show always from home isolation, so that's not a change really. But
welcome to the quarantine episode.
Yeah, that's right, quarantine episode. I'm sure a lot of you out there are hunkered down as well. So we'll spend the hour together and take your mind off what's going on and get into a little Tesla news as well as some other stuff. So welcome to the show. First, let's introduce the panel. As always, from the DC area, Mr. Casey Green joins us. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I had almost finished up my video on 2020.8.1, and then 2020.8.1.1 came out right after it, and then I got 2020.12, and I filmed it, but I've not yet edited it. So I'm going to smush the two videos together, and then we'll get that out.
Quick succession. That's absolutely. Mr. Patrick Connor joins us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hello, wherever and whenever you are out there. Thanks for coming to the Tesla Life, where we look at our incredibly awesome fossil-free fuel future. There you go. Say that 5 times real fast.
That was a tongue twister.
So one cool thing about home isolation and frequent hand washing is you get free face touches.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a number of news stories about people that put some stuff on their hands to simulate germs, and then it lights up under black light. So they put it on their hands, and then they just sit for an hour and try not to touch anything, and then they come back an hour later and shine the light. It's all over their face. It's all over the keyboard. It's all over their desk, everywhere. Their significant other, it's on them. Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
Oh, I think the average is you touch your face 23 times an hour without even knowing it. So easier said than done, but we'll see what we can do about it tonight.
Yeah, Mythbusters has done something similar where they put it on and then interacted with people, and it's crazy.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Social distancing is not easy. It's not in our nature.
That's right. Well, tonight, our lead story, of course, is Model Y, and Model Y. It has been released. We saw it earlier in the week. Performance version of the car was released in a few states. We saw one, of course, in California, which is certainly expected, Utah, Arizona, and I believe there was one on the east coast of Florida. Yes, that's right. Those are confirmed in Florida.
There were 3 in my previous service center. The Charlotte Center had 3 in the last 3 days.
Okay, yeah. So the Carolinas have seen their share as well.
Well, we don't nothing in Canada. Found customers yet.
Oh, they're just sitting there.
They're locked in the bay.
Okay.
Oh. Hopefully they found a home by now.
They're waiting for actual delivery. Yeah, you would think that it was, I believe, Thursday was the first early delivery. Friday, a few more went out, and of course, Saturday and Sunday, the floodgates started to open.
Yeah, so it was Friday that we saw the sneak peek, the spy shots.
So they're rolling out now. Vehicles are being trucked out even as we speak to different points in the country, and a lot of excited people out there. It seems to be the videos are only coming out for the performance variant. Have not seen an all-wheel drive variant yet, but and that's easy to see because of course a lot of them have those 21-inch black wheels, which are really easy to see as the performance version goes out. So I want to talk a little bit about what we've seen with the car. Certainly one of the big stories with this car is that in the owner's manual, which of course you can now get online as well, there was a mention of the heat pump, which has been added to the vehicle. This will be the first Tesla vehicle that will be using a vehicle heat pump. And for those who don't really know what a heat pump is, think of it as an air conditioner that works in reverse. So it takes ambient heat around it, and then it transfers it into the housing, which is really the air conditioning unit. It uses the same unit, and it does the transfer of heat. And of course, if it's on air conditioning mode, it does transfer of cold. So it does that and moves the outside into the cabin and helps with the heating or cooling aspect of it. And some people say, well, of course, it can't do a great job once it gets really cold, but I believe it's effective up to about -4 degrees centigrade. So that would be about what, 26 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere in that area, 25. So it does give you a much more efficiency because it's basically 300 times, I'm sorry, 3 times more efficient than using radiant heat, using a heat pump.
And it still has the resistive heater.
Yes.
So the one thing about heat pumps is they can take a while to warm up. So it starts out using the resistive heater, so you get that instant warmth. And then when you get into the really cold temperatures, like you said, below -4°C, it still has the resistive heater. And since the heat pump isn't very effective there, it'll use that instead. So you kind of get the best of both worlds here.
Yep. And they patented, in 2018, they patented some aspect of the heat pump, and for the housing units, they some of them are down to like -20, and somebody pointed out that they're still 100% efficient even when they're not working to produce as much heat as we would like they're working less efficiently because the waste product is still heat.
Yeah,
that's true. Yep.
And then, like we said, they do also still have the resistive heat in there as well. So this is exciting, especially because at those more moderate temperatures, you don't have to fire up those resistors, so you get more range.
So you'll be saving range certainly with the addition of this. And another interesting thing is that it's probably, we don't know this for sure, but there is speculation that it's taking some of the heat from that super bottle that's in the Model 3, which is also in the Model Y, where the different heated fluid that's in the super bottle that comes from, say, the battery itself or other aspects.
The motor.
Or other aspects of the car.
Or the battery.
It can take some of that heat and use it as the conversion in the heat pump as well. So even though it may be cooler outside, in the mechanics of the car, it still is able to take some heat that is available to it to do the conversion. So can hardly wait to, well, I'm finished with winter up here. I was finished a month ago, but certainly it'll be interesting to see if it does transfer into higher ranges in the winter than what we're used to now with the Model 3.
Right, it absolutely should. Unless you are wearing a coat and not using your heat in the car, it's going to transfer into more effective range. And that's one cool thing about the way that Tesla's done this. So a normal car maker would have a completely separate HVAC system, and they wouldn't be able to siphon heat off of other parts of the vehicle. But because they do everything integrated in-house, you can say, oh, okay, well, let's take advantage of those factors. And they all play together. There's one Tesla design, not, oh, we designed this, you designed that. So that's really awesome. I've had 2 vehicles with heat pumps in the past. My Chevy electric pickup had a heat pump as its primary HVAC system, and then it had a small diesel heater. So I have an electric truck, and it has a diesel heater. It had a 0.8 gallon diesel tank, and so the entire time that I had it, I never had to fill the tank. It actually had kerosene in it, and I only know of one time that it went off in the winter. I was out late and I came home and I was like, what is that horrible smell? What is going on? Oh, the heater ran. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's also 100% efficient.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't remember how many miles I drove that vehicle, maybe 25,000 in the 4 years I had it. And so I had less than a gallon. I like to say I got 25,000 miles per gallon.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh,
That's
man.
not how that math works, but it was fun.
Have we seen the Model Y with the front tub removed yet?
We have no, not the actual tub, but the above piece where the 12-volt battery is. So that piece has been removed in some photographs that I've seen online, showing you the large air intake area, as well as to the right of it, the battery area for the 12 volts. And again, they didn't do any covering with that air intake, so it's just wide open. So it would suck in a squirrel if one was to present itself. But there are some aftermarket stuff I know from the Model 3 where you can put over a plastic grill on top of that to prevent leaves and other things from possibly blowing into that intake. If you're worried about that type of thing. But
and it is what, 76% shared parts, even though it's a drastically different vehicle?
75 or 76, right? Yeah. Also, which some unique features to the Model Y certainly would be the now 2 rear underfloor storage areas. So there's a flat underfloor storage area, and then there's a deep well one similar to the Model 3. That's something new to have that second flat area that's just beyond the deep well up towards the second row of seats. And speaking of those seats, there are now some buttons in the back that allow the middle seats to mechanically fold down, not up, just down. So you can flip the switch in the back as you're standing near the rear of the car, and those seats will fold in a 60-40 split, even though the seats are set up in a 40-40-20 setup, but they do fold in a 60-40 for that mechanical fold.
Yep, that thin cover is identical on the 5-seat Model X. It's where the 7 seats would go.
Right.
Yeah.
The middle, those middle seats also recline, so you have the ability to back them up a little bit. So if your passenger wants to stretch out a little bit, there is a reclining option for those seats. And of course, we mentioned they're separated triple. One thing to keep in mind is that the middle one, when it folds down, it does leave a steel bar that sticks out. Yeah. The catch, and it sticks out quite a few, like maybe 2 inches. It sticks out. So putting anything in the middle, you got to be sure that it's not going to get punctured by that little steel bit that is there to support the middle seat when it gets folded up. Also, with the Model Y is, of course, they've now addressed the emergency rear exit doors. In the 3, there was no way to open the doors from the inside if there was a power outage. Now in the Y, there is a pull that's down in the map holder or the cup holder of the door. You can actually manually open the door with that pull release for both back doors.
That sounds like what Brian did with the Model 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian from I Won Tesla, for anyone who on a first name basis follows YouTubers.
I wonder if the child lock disables that or not. I mean, it seems like it should be hidden away enough, and if your child is restrained as they should be, they're probably not going to be able to reach down into the cup holder.
They wouldn't be able to reach it. But
yeah. So.
If they're rolling around in the back seat, then yeah, they could probably get to it, which they shouldn't be rolling anyways. But
right, yes. If also, you're a horrible parent, you might have an additional problem.
We're going to go that far, Patrick, but okay. Yeah. Also, of course, another big improvement for many is that the hatch itself is now powered. So you've got the automatic opening and closing with your app or with the button or with the toggle on the actual hatch door. There is no option for towing right at this moment, but there is a panel where the tow mechanism will go at some point, we believe, and there has been some leaked information online that show that they are preparing for a tow rating as well as even a 7-pin connector for a trailer. So we believe that something will happen at some point, but we thought that was going to happen already with the Model 3. That still hasn't happened here in North America. It has in Europe, but it has not here in North America. So we believe something's going to happen. There is some leaked evidence that Tesla is certainly aware of it, and many people, of course, are hoping for it. So we will have to watch and see.
Yeah, even if it's just for a bike rack or a ski rack, having a hitch receiver is a really handy thing to have.
Yeah, it'd be really weird of them not to put it in North America after putting that cover over it, unless the
Right.
cover in volume makes up for the effort of
Doing it just
labor
for
to make it.
fees
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
But it's definitely coming to at least Europe because we've seen the Model 3, the Model Y with manufacturer plates towing stuff.
Yes, many pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Different trailers, as well as Patrick said, like the biking type scenario where you've got a rack that's just holding bikes. Even a motorcycle was being held by one of those racks. So yeah, it's certainly out there. Another difference is that it comes now with a wireless phone charger setup. So that is standard. And of course, I'm sure the aftermarket guys aren't too happy about that. But
Probably not. And thank you for saying wireless phone charging. So many headlines I've seen say Model Y has wireless charging, and that to me sounds like vehicle charging. No, that's not. No, if you mean phone charging, say phone charging. Damn it.
So the aftermarket is still kind of safe because this does use your front USB-C port, but the folks who have tested it say that it's not as powerful as their aftermarket unit.
Interesting.
So, I think it might even have less positions that you can use as well.
Okay, and
but
speaking
is
of
the
that,
price difference worth it?
Right, and then speaking of that, the USB-C port is one at the front and apparently two at the back. So that'll give you some other charging options that aren't available currently in the Model 3. But we expect a lot of this stuff will be pushed over to the Model 3 as time goes along. Certainly Tesla has shown that they just add things here and there as their volumes run out of inventory of a certain product, they just introduce a new product. So with the Y and the 3 sharing so many things, I could see a number of these things just making their way over to the Model 3 whenever they run out of the original part. So
I'm hoping the Cybertruck's got this.
I'm going to welcome all the Model 3 owners to the now you don't have the latest Tesla club, and you might not have all the latest Gizmos club, and you might even not get your updates as soon as the other ones do.
Oh
so
my
gosh! My world now.
Welcome to the back burner, y'all.
Us Model 3 guys had it so great for about 2 years, and now that's it. We're old news.
Yep, exactly.
Old news. So again, the Y is apparently starting to roll out in more numbers. It's showing up in many different videos. People are doing first looks and first reviews and first drives and all that kind of stuff. So certainly you can find a lot of that on YouTube if you want to dive deeper into it. There's lots of content now available on it. So that's the first story. The next story we're going to roll into is our friends over at Tesla Ideas, which we talked about last week. They run a website where you can actually log in for free, and you can fill out an idea form, put some tags on it, some identifiers, add a picture if you want, and get your idea in front of other Tesla owners to be voted on. And based on the number of votes, they have a hot list of what shows up over time. And they try to promote those higher up ideas, the ones that get the most votes, to see if they can get the attention of Tesla or others in the industry about getting these things done. And most recently, they had the idea of the Bluetooth not engaging until someone sits in the driver's seat. So they got some traction, they got noticed, and it looks like, of course, based on Elon's tweets, is that they were going to add it, and of course we saw it in the latest update. So they did get some traction. So it's a great...
I tweeted that one at Musk twice, never got a response, but I'm finally getting the feature, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been a couple of people I know. They didn't realize, and they were trying to work their phones in the chair with the door open. Doesn't happen anymore.
Not gonna happen, is it? Yeah. So of course, Tesla Ideas got a hold of us and said, "Hey, would you take a look at our top 3, and maybe you guys could go through them and see what you think?" And so we're gonna have a live vote on the show tonight. I'll also let you know that we did post this on our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, if you don't know already. And it ran for 2 days. We got close to 600 votes. And it was a dead heat between all three ideas. So basically, they split the vote across the board at 33% each. So, man, these are good ideas. So let me read off what they were. We've got the multi-point, waypoints that would be put on the map. We've got a passive blind spot detection. And we've got a SentryMode utility that you can use in the car. So, Casey, Patrick, you guys have looked at these ideas already on the website, Tesla Ideas. And of course, you can see the link to the website in our notes here if you would like to sign up and participate. But let's start with you, Casey. What was your favorite of the three and why?
So on the site, I voted for all three because I could. But when I have to pick just one, I went for the passive blind spot detection because it's good what it has, but it could use more work. Because right now, it will nudge the wheel and beep at you if you try to run somebody over, but you have to be really close before it does anything. And it's really nice to have multiple waypoints, but right now I kind of do it in my head. It's not that difficult. It's just annoying. And then SentryMode would be my number 2 choice because being able to manage that without having to take the drive out, come back to the computer, or plug it into my phone. Depending on what's, if my drive is corrupt, my phone won't repair it, so I got to bring it into the house anyway.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Patrick, what is your selection and why?
Okay, yeah. So I agree with our Twitter poll that these are all great ideas. That makes sense that they all got a lot of votes. So picking one is difficult. So the criteria I used is which one do I think people would use the most? And one of the great things about the Tesla is the navigation system with charge stops built in. And it's nice because you can plan a trip anywhere and it figures it out for you. However, if you want to stop somewhere and then go somewhere else, it doesn't do that math for you. And multiple times I've had it where it says that you're going to arrive at this destination with 8%. And if I have charging at that destination, that's great. But if I don't, then I need to get from there the next day or whenever somewhere else. And so my selection is the multiple waypoints so that I can have it do that math and make trips a whole lot easier. And the others are great ideas too, but I think this one is, to make vehicles mainstream, you got to make it easy, and this is something that people interact with a lot. That's my choice.
I agree with that. You would touch it all the time.
You have to indicate what would be your second choice if the first was not available.
Oh, what? I have to have a second choice?
Well, because I think we might have a tie.
No. Okay, let's go ahead, Mark. We'll do yours.
All right. I looked at this as the fact that what would I use most in my daily travels, and I am always bothered by the SentryMode problem that I will set the thing on SentryMode when I'm in an area where I'm not quite sure about it. I go into the place, I come back out, it lets me know I've got 2 events recorded. I pull the USB card, I go into the house, I plug it in the computer, I bring it up, and then I notice that 2 people walk by the front of the car. Yeah. And it's like, why did I go through all this just to watch 2 people walk in front of my car with their shopping cart, or someone drove in front of me, which is another common one, where a car drives down the road and just sets off the camera. So my vote would be for SentryMode utility, that I could just pull it up on the screen, quickly view what happened, and either delete it or save it for later. Because this jumping back and forth between the house and the car is just a pain in the butt that I find personally. The other stuff, certainly important and would be great to have, but that's what I have a problem with currently. So now we have a tie.
My wife and I, when we get those little notices, she likes to walk around the car, make sure somebody hasn't messed with her baby.
And I'll let the viewers know that we didn't tell each other what our vote was before we started. We just went live with this, and now we're in this mess. So,
what's funny is
how did we actually solve this now?
The audience did it, and then we did it.
Before you went live, you did say that we had a 3-way tie on Twitter, and I was thinking, we should contrive a 3-way tie, and then we're like, no, we got to go on air, and we had
did it anyways.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll try to shoot yours down, Mark. How about that? Okay. And I do agree that going through that is a hassle. But if it was too easy, and say you did, you got back to the car, you saw you had these notices, you pull it up, and then you see that the car right next to you had dinged you when they got out of their car. Now you're right there. You're in the heat of the moment. You might not even have noticed something on your car. Yeah,
You're saying I might kill someone in the parking lot. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not you.
That owner's life kills.
This might be a problem, south of the 47th parallel or whatever the number is.
Saying he's too nice.
But I am fortunate that anytime I've used it and I've got the alert, there's never been anything to look at substantial, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'd rather not have a ding in my car or someone lay in my hood. Absolutely, this is the way to go. But it just becomes at a point where you're looking at the notification and you're going, it's not even worth looking at. It's a car that went by. There's too many false positives, really, that are going on with it. And it's great it's alerting me, don't get me wrong. But having that ability just to quickly look at it, I think would be a lot better than what is happening today.
Oh yeah. We all said they're great ideas, all three. Yeah. So
one thing that would be nice is if it still triggered the recording on some of those, but like after it's done, if it decided that it wasn't an impact, they could be like, hey, when you're reviewing it later, it's just there, but like people coming up and looking in your windows, that might be more important, or somebody trying your door handles.
Yeah,
I've had cases where they don't touch my car, but they come up, they look at it, they see the flash, or they see the screen recording notification, and they back off, which is nice. And those I kind of want to know about them, but they're not as impactful as somebody touching the car or doing something.
Right. Yeah. There's sort of a threshold there. If you touch my car, I want to know.
Yeah, and if you are near it, I would like that to be taped so I can go back and review it. But tell me.
So what do you think, guys? We got to pick a winner because someone's going to get a prize here. Let's mention that the MultiWay points was Matt Heath. The passive Blindspot was Massimo Valdes. And, of course, the SentryMode utility was Albert Ivanov. So we got to pick one winner. Since our Twitter couldn't pick a winner, we couldn't pick a winner. How do we break this tie? By second place?
I got to agree with Patrick that other than the fact that safety is number one for me, is that I'm always using that map, and it would be nice to not have to do all that stuff in my head or on the phone. I mean, you've seen the miles that we do, so it's not useless to us by any means. We would use the heck out of it.
Okay, so let's vote again, and you cannot vote for the one you already voted for.
Well, that was my number 2, so.
Yeah, okay, so there's Casey's number 2 was the maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then so my number 2 is probably going to be, I don't know. SentryMode it needs better usability. Safety's always important. I don't know how to pick between those two. I'm going to go with Tesla's already the safest car, so I'm going to go with the SentryMode.
Okay, SentryMode. Okay, and since I can't pick my original one, I would go with the waypoints as well.
Okay, so wait, didn't you pick waypoints? Didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Okay.
And so did Mark. So waypoints
wins. So Matt Heath, you've won. Congratulations. Tesla Ideas will be in contact with you after the show sometime. So congratulations on all 3 great ideas, and we hope to see all of them implemented. But man, I've never had a poll that close before with over 600 people voting. So obviously they are good ideas.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Very good.
That's fine.
Next story was a little bit about what was going on in Berlin. No, no, we have seen that the site has actually been cleared of trees at this point, and there's now some digging and trenching going on, was the last report. But what happened here with the recent C-19 thing that's going on is Tesla has called back American workers that are in Germany working on the actual Berlin factory. And they have were notified to leave and come back to the States. It was by the end of last week, so Friday, I believe, the order went out. So a number of people have left and will have to work remotely on the different aspects of their job that they were doing for Tesla Berlin. And again, it's part of the C-19 thing where everybody is trying to be safe. Everyone is trying to be, with flights being canceled, some commercial flights not going between countries now. They want, of course, people to be able to get home and not be trapped somewhere or not be able to get back in a timely manner. So that's, I guess, the state of the world as it sits today.
I think, I mean, this is the right thing to do. And then unless they were going to go home and shelter in place like we're doing, I think they actually might have been safer over there.
I don't know.
It's tough to say because, of course, Italy and Spain now, and now France are really being hit hard with this. So it's really tough to say where is safe besides on a desert island by yourself.
Did you hear about the various reality TV shows that just found out about it, and the group that was camping in the woods? They came back to this disaster.
That's horrible. That of course
we should have stayed in the woods.
Yeah, they have no access to this kind of stuff, and they find that out. Man, that would be brutal.
Yes, but I mean, the site's cleared. They've taken care of the endangered species concerns. So just whenever it's safe to come back, do your stuff, and make cars later.
I'm glad Tesla's doing the right thing here for people, because Musk has been dismissive of C-19 on Twitter. And
I think he's dismissive of the panic, but yeah.
Yes, okay, yeah. He did make a distinction, but still, it makes you wonder if he was going to do the right thing here, and Tesla has, so that's good news.
Yeah, he's got to work on his Microsoft speak. People don't read into what he says sometimes when he makes a distinction. He doesn't make it clear enough, like that tweet we talked about last week where he had to go and explain himself further. I was still confused by it, and I'm used to reading his tweets. And he knows that these people are going to take whatever he says and purposefully twist it, so he should be more deliberate when he speaks.
Right.
Especially if it's a tweet where you can retype it. But I'm not criticizing him for it. I'm just saying that he set himself up for this controversy when it could have been avoided with another 30 seconds of retyping the tweet.
Yeah, it's well, with someone that's got 30 million followers, you got to be pretty exact all the time, whatever you're putting out on social media, because that's a lot of people to be taking in, reading your tweet. It's got to be bang on every time, and I'm sure he's been bitten a couple times by this, and we've kind of noticed that his tweets have changed a little bit. He's not quite as quick to tweet about things, or possibly as direct as he used to be. So that certainly is from experience of what he's been seeing.
Right, so, and he's less active during market hours.
Yes.
Exactly. Our next little bit here is just to share a screenshot that was sent out by Tesla Letter, and of course this is the first shot of Sexy in the wild.
Oh, sexy to me, yeah.
So we've got the S, the 3, the X and the Y in the proper order. So we knew that was coming at some point. Just glad to see it is finally arrived.
It also shows even more so the size